What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you guys had a fantastic day today, and today we have another retro model review for you guys. Today we have a really good one in the GeminiJets 1:400 scale Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-200 in the desert gold livery. We're really going to be throwing it back retro today, and I really hope you guys are excited for it. This is a really cool model, and despite getting it recently and unboxing it, I thought that it was worth another review because, man, this thing is really nice and it is really cool. So without any further delay, let's get started with the box. Alrighty, so beginning right here with the box, you have the limited edition titles. Of course, this was a classic for GeminiJets back in the day. Diecast model 1:400 scale in the original price tag of $28.95, which is quite nice considering what this model I paid for it now. Here is the aircraft itself right here with the nice sky background. Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-200, the Southwest Airlines trademark, made for collectors by collectors, the GeminiJets logo, and products under the license of Boeing's management company. 737 are among trademarks owned by Boeing. Really cool box. Of course, this was GeminiJets' classic back in the day, and they've been doing the all-white theme here for Southwest for quite a long time on the boxes, as far as I can recall, and with the original ones. So really cool aircraft right here, and really glad to have it, man. I believe this is a 2001 release. It sure is. Nothing on the back that shows you how far back this was, but man, this is a super pretty model, and I'll just talk about stories with this aircraft because this one is really cool and definitely deserves it. Alrighty, everybody, and here is the GeminiJets 1:400 scale Southwest Airlines 737-200 in the desert livery. This is an incredible aircraft, quite a unique one to say the least, and it is really nice. So what we'll do here is we'll do a full review, and then I have quite a bit of talking that I would like to do just about the aircraft in general and how special it is. So that is what we'll do from there. But man, this is such a cool plane and most certainly deserves quite a proper assessment despite being reviewed recently, because this is such a pretty plane, and man, this throws it back quite a ways. Am I right? So we'll begin up here at the front with the cockpit windows, and then you have this piece right here. I believe this was meant to deflect heat since the concrete and asphalt were really hot, especially in the summer months. So I believe that is the intent of that right here, and for all other aircraft. And of course, you have the fuselage, nice and simple. You have the beautiful desert gold livery going across, and then the red underneath looking really nice. Not too much detail on the nose landing gear, door, and gear, but they look nice. I can't complain. I really like them, so there it is. And then you have the L1 boarding door with some really solid detail for 2001. You can't complain with that. That's really nice. And then this little piece right here too. Next up, you have Southwest all economy at the time, so these are just all economy seats right here. All the windows looking really nice, and then the beautiful heart with the one on it, because that's obviously was Southwest's kind of theme back in the early 2000s. And with this livery, that was, man, such a workhorse to say the least. Here's the emergency exit door. I don't believe there's any detail on the wing, but it's really nice that they were able to include that detail. Really cool. And then very unique to the 737-100s and 200s is this very unique engine design. So of course, you have the beautiful I don't know what these are. I think these may be original CFMs. I honestly don't know. But very long, as you can tell. Quite a unique design. And the bucket reversers back there too. Very unique design and really cool. Of course, this is one of the very first smaller aircraft with jets. So they definitely had to innovate at that time. That's why it was so much bigger. But it looks really good. On the wing, you're going to find some beautiful flap slat and speed brake detail, which looks really good. And this is a cradle mold, but honestly done really well, as you can kind of barely notice the one piece there. And there is the underneath view. As you can see, the main landing gear look really good with the red and white right there. So good job there by Gemini to get that applicable detail. Not too much for the rest of the cabin, of course, just a nice simple livery, but man, this just screams retro, as you can see. And then you have the registration November 93 Sierra Whiskey, which was quite a unique tail number for the time. There weren't a ton of US airlines doing the only 2 number prefix, so quite cool to see Southwest Airlines getting in on that, as you guys can see. Then you got the L2 door. Along with that, you have the desert right here that cheats up, the red strikes up, and then orange comes out from nowhere. As you guys can see, it just kind of circles around, and then a little bit more desert there at the back. That is where, I don't know if APUs were there at the time, but that's where it would be if there were, in the horizontal stabilizers also in solid condition. The other side is very similar. You do have the luggage door right here, which looks really nice, and one in the back to complement that as well. Not too much detail on the top of the aircraft. You do have the one red beacon, which looks nice, and outside of that, a little bit of detail. It's cool to see the engines from this perspective, though. They look really cool. In the bottom of the aircraft, of course, you got some landing gears, a little bit more detail. You can see the engines really nicely from here, too. The GeminiJets logo, which was fairly big. A couple of really cool, I'm trying to think the way to word this. they're just like engraved on there, the details, really, really nice. And then the main landing gear also look really good. So yeah, that is the Southwest Airlines 737-200 by GeminiJets. This is a really, really nice aircraft. Really, really glad to have this, and this is really awesome. So as you guys know, I got this back in like mass unboxing 19, probably 17 or 19. Nevertheless, I believe it was 17. I got this aircraft in preparation for an upcoming project. The review was really good in that video, and I wasn't disappointed with it or anything. I just really wanted to come back to this aircraft because, man, as you guys can see, it is really, really nice, and I definitely want to talk about it a little bit because Southwest's 737-200s were quite unique. So, as you guys know, Southwest Airlines has been a huge force in the United States for many decades now, I think dating back to like the 50s or 60s. They've done a really, really good job with their operation, and they've grown tremendously over the years. So, this aircraft obviously began flying, I believe, in the late 70s sometimes, early 80s, somewhere in there. It obviously progressed all the way up into the early 2000s. I think it got retired in like 03 or 04, maybe 05. It was somewhere in that ballpark, but these aircraft most certainly did a really big job for Southwest. They flew for a very long time, and these were really helpful planes for Southwest to really get their jet age off the ground, of course, along the 727. This was a really big era as Southwest, of course, turned into a fully Boeing 737 airline, which is quite unique, and you don't see a ton of airlines consolidate to that level. I mean, yes, you see a few, but Southwest, for their size, that's very impressive. So really, really cool. But Southwest, great airline in general. The reason that I chose to buy this aircraft, as you guys may know, and we'll talk about it much more in the future, along with some upcoming projects with it and everything, is the Retro Tulsa Model Airport project, which I'm very excited to just get after. It's going to be really fun. We'll have an announcement coming for that very soon, and of course, we'll be diving into multiple formats with that. But this aircraft, along with many of my other recent retro editions, and we're going to have a full Retro Master unboxing coming out very soon, which is just, that's crazy that we've got to that point. That is so exciting. But all these retro model aircraft have been so exciting to accumulate. This one, the United 737. I'm trying to think of others I've unboxed on camera, but that retro unboxing most certainly will have quite a few of them. But it's been really, really cool to get to embark on all these models, and I think they'll be huge assets for the collection. All my American Airlines Chrome aircraft, of course, that I've had have been really, really nice. So ultimately, I've been super glad to have these airplanes, and they've been really, really nice for the collection. This is no exception to that principle whatsoever. Southwest began flying to Tulsa in the early 1980s. They began with Dallas Love Field, and they just started to progress from there. They eventually added into the 90s. They added Kansas City. I believe St. Louis came later, Houston Hobby, and then Las Vegas and Phoenix. And we may have had another route or two. That was our big establishment for the moment. And then later on, we ended up dropping Kansas City, but then we gained, let's see here, St. Louis and Denver, and then we eventually ended up getting Midway. We lost Midway, and nowadays, and we also had Saturday-only service to Orlando, which was nice for a couple of years. But nowadays, we currently have the majority of those destinations, along with Austin and Chicago Midway back, which is really cool. So Southwest was certainly stronger than ever here at Tulsa. They've been here for over 40 years, which is just super cool, and I wanted to represent that in a lot of ways. And the 737-200 is going to be very pivotal as they flew this aircraft to Tulsa for well around 20 years. So I did pay, I think, like $83 for this model. It was fairly high, but I can't complain whatsoever, as I mean, it flew to Tulsa for 20 years. I've never had a 737-200 in my collection before, so this was just so cool to finally get a 737-200. And I mean, that's an awesome model, man. And I didn't know what my retro Tulsa not necessarily needs, but like what I was going to orientate to was going to be at the time. So I just like, if this is a good deal, if it flew here for this long, it's a very valid reason to get it. And I'm so glad to have it in my collection. It's a very nice aircraft, and as you guys can tell, really, really nice. Looks very good. And if you can find it, highly recommend getting it. It's really good. Gives me Lone Lawyer 6 vibes so much. He had all the classic Southwest planes in 1 to 400 and 1 to 200 scale, which was just super impressive for the time. And this is most certainly a prime example of that. So, and this is awesome. There's no other way to put it, man. This is so cool to get to experience retro aviation like this and just throw it back. You know, that old Southwest logo that you can see right here in the box, it never fails to impress me. And it's so cool how sometimes it's a desert and sometimes it's canyon blue. I mean, that's just so awesome. So I love that logo so much. That's childhood, and man, I love it. I love it. So excited to hopefully try Southwest here in a few days. I should hopefully be able to do a day trip with them. That's the plan right now. So hopefully that happens. Very, very excited for that, man. I've been wanting to get back on Southwest. It's been 7 years. So really excited to see what Southwest is all about nowadays. And I think that they're going to do a really, really good job. Very pleased with their efforts. And they've just been a really good airline to say the least. So Southwest is awesome. Highly recommend Southwest, and they are really, really good to say the least. So we have some history to talk about a little bit more in depth here with the Southwest 737-200, who is quite a workhorse to say the least, and you guys will see here in just a moment. So let's dive into those details. Alrighty guys, so let's dive into some history on the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-200. So I am going to be trying a new format today with the Retro Model Reviews history segments. I thought that this format to kind of show you guys some different links and different things and some resources and all that fun stuff would be a really nice way to present this to give you guys kind of more of a bang for your buck, if you will, and more information to kind of take a look at. And honestly, I think this live format will work really well with all my rambling and everything. So we'd love to talk about history. And let's get started with Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-200. Let me know what you guys think about this format in the comments. But Southwest Airlines, as you guys can see, began flying revenue flights with the 737-200 on June 18th of 1971. It was pretty interesting as they actually did not originally order these aircraft, but rather they were taken over from Air California, Aloha Airlines, Pacific Southwest Airlines, and also there was a loan aircraft from Columbia too as well, which ended up turning into VASPs. So quite some good information as well right here. This was a really good excerpt paragraph along with this one down here. Feel free to read anything you'd like on the history, but I'm kind of just taking some resources and putting them all together to go chronologically with this. So obviously there was a lot of various problems with the 737-200 once time continued to progress for Southwest. They used these aircraft for quite a long time up until 2004, but there was a couple things like inadequate range. That was one as well. So there was many problems with it, but overall it was a good aircraft from the 70s into the 80s, even into the 90s. Here's what your Boeing 737-200 looked like. Of course, just like the model, feel free sorry, let's go a couple steps back. Credit to all the respective photographers, but definitely feel free to look up this aircraft and kind of look at some detail on it. But as you guys can see, it had only the desert livery for the most part, and the one aircraft we'll talk about here in a minute also had the Canyon blue paint scheme. But as you can tell, it's quite a nice aircraft just from looking at the glance of all these planes. For the most part, it only had that one livery with the heart, but I think this livery also may have been applicable for a period of time in the early days as far as I'm aware. Could be wrong on that, but quite a nice livery to say the least, and definitely an iconic plane to say the least. I don't know if this is correct on air fleets, but it says that they only had a history of 47 of the Boeing 737-200s. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you guys know if that's incorrect or correct. But 737-200, you can see right there, 47 total. So I'm not sure if that's correct, but maybe it is. I'm not sure, but nevertheless, quite interesting to say the least. Multiple Southwest Airlines route maps. I'll kind of just give you guys a few. Feel free to check out thepartoflights.com to get the more adequate, or to check out all of them. As you can tell, it's a very long list compared to some other airlines. But here's what Southwest started with. And June 18th, 1971, just 2 flights from Dallas Love Field to San Antonio and Houston Intercontinental. And man, they progressed on that fairly quickly. If we jump up here to 1975, we had Harlington at that point, which was pretty impressive. And then jumping into 1978, now we're really starting to get going here. As you guys can see, we're spreading love over Texas, which was a big slogan of theirs, with service to Rio Grande, Austin, Midland, El Paso, Lubbock. So they're really starting to expand in the Texas region. By the 1982 timeframe, a massive expansion came, and there was a lot of new services varying to plenty of new countries, including Albuquerque or New Mexico with Albuquerque, Arizona with Phoenix, Nevada with Las Vegas, San Diego with California, Tulsa and Oklahoma City for Oklahoma, Kansas City for Missouri, and Louisiana for New Orleans. So quite impressive route map, and they were connecting places fast. So really, really cool to say the least right there. That was awesome. As soon as 1985, as you guys can tell, even more expansion was coming. Denver made its debut in the route network, along with Los Angeles, San Diego, and various other cities in the region too. Other airports were really starting to see huge expansion for Southwest Airlines, including Los Angeles, Albuquerque. You would find Dallas Love Field, Houston Hobby, San Antonio, Austin, all with a ton of presence. So very impressive to say the least right there for Southwest Airlines. As soon as 1988, at 1989 by accident, Southwest Airlines really started to progress out of the Southwest region, as you guys can see, despite some expansion to cities such as Oakland, and it looks like the Texas region stayed pretty consistent there. But Little Rock was added in, St. Louis, Chicago Midway, Detroit, Indianapolis, Nashville. Sorry about that, everybody, but as you guys could tell, they were starting to expand really, really good into the late 80s. Speaking of which, going into the 90s, they really started to expand really well, as they had even more cities, including Columbus, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Reno, Sacramento, you name it, Burbank, Ontario. Really, really impressive to see Southwest begin to expand even more by that point. But in 1995 era, you really start to see the real-time expansion into some new regions such as the Northwest and the far East Coast. Baltimore, Washington began its establishment along with some new cities including Louisville. It looks like Amarillo was new at that point. Omaha, also Boise, Portland, Seattle, and Spokane as well. So really impressive. And as you guys can see on the route map, they were starting to let everybody know when the new services was starting. So really cool to say the least right there as well. Very nice. By the 1998 range, this is the last timetable on here, but kind of the final applicable one anyways. 2004 would have been nice, but for the 737-700, as you guys can see, really big. You had plenty of service in Nashville at this point. Florida was huge with Orlando, Tampa Bay, Jackson, Fort Lauderdale, Manchester, and Providence had service. And just really impressive. Salt Lake City was really big, so ultimately quite an impressive route network for Southwest. It was really nice to say the least right there. They also had various advertisements. I won't go through every one, but I'll just click on a couple random ones. Here's the 1980 report, which is quite interesting to see all this, all these numbers from back then, quite crazy. And then the percentage increase and all that fun stuff, that's quite crazy. And look at that operating revenues. That's very impressive to say the least right there. Very nice. Excuse me, my goodness. Here's the Spirit of the Kitty Hawk, which was quite an impressive aircraft. For the 737-300, very applicable, so that was really nice. If you guys saw the 737-300 Arizona 1 review, we talked about that pretty in detail. Then we have a couple of different ones like the Flight the Bumblebee, so quite nice right there. And there's plenty of them too. DepartedFlights.com does an outstanding job providing all these resources to us. 1,200 flights daily, that was impressive for the 1992 era. And then here's one for 2000 with service to Buffalo. So Southwest was really getting started on that, and it's just super impressive to see right there for Southwest. More recent times, Southwest retired the 737-200 in 2004, and as a result, the only Canyon Blue 737-200, the nose was kept, and they put it in a brand new museum that opened with the 737-200 nose section at the Frontiers of Flight Museum at Dallas Love Field Airport. This is on the east side of the airfield of the far hangar, and it's really cool. They have this in the Spirit of the Kitty Hawk 737-300 there, which is very cool. So here's the nose piece. I wish they would have kept the whole plane, but really nice to see the nose piece that got kept. I'm so sorry, but here's some applicable detail about it. They talked about the 737 in detail here. Really cool. And then they talked about November 102 Sierra Whiskey, which was the final 737-200 retired in January of 2004. But pretty nice detail here throughout. And if you're looking for anything particular, that's what the cockpit looked like. Pretty nice for the 70s, honestly. That's pretty impressive. Plenty of gauges and everything you needed to know to get going there, and that was awesome. Southwest also had a really nice press article right here in the 2005 timeframe that went into detail. Sorry, I looked through it already briefly, but they went into detail about the final flight of the 737-200 and how they did a flyover the runway, which was quite awesome. So that's really cool, and everything that you need to know about the 737-200. So quite awesome to see that, and that was awesome. Last but certainly not least for the history, this link was, I think I was actually just looking through all the pages again, so I apologize. But nevertheless, Southwest ended up retiring this in 2004. It was quite an awesome aircraft for the Southwest Airlines fleet, and they really expanded. It was the foundation. Southwest did an awesome job with the aircraft, to say the least, as you guys were able to tell. So really impressive right there for Southwest. That was absolutely awesome. And yeah, Southwest 737-200 has an awesome history, and feel free to let me know what you guys think about this format. Here we go. Alrighty, so that will do it for today's review on the Southwest 737-200 by GeminiJets. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is such a cool model aircraft, and I'm so glad to have it, man. What an awesome plane, and just super nice, and really glad to have it. Super awesome, and what a plane this is. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite Southwest Airlines plane is and what your favorite livery is. I would be excited to hear from you guys, and I would love to talk about it. You know, there's a lot of really good planes here, and there's most certainly a lot of great options that Southwest always provides. Really nice, and they have some really good details on that, to say the least. So with all that being said, that will do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. My name is Redriveraviation. I thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do you love and love what you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.